call.
Mayor Connie Ball,
Here.
Vice Mayor Mike Crawford,
Here.
Alderman Jeff Fancher,
Here.
Alderman Roger Gribble,
Here.
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Here.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
Here.
City Attorney Terry Purse,
Here.
City Attorney James Fincham.
Here.
For the record. That's all right, Tina. You're good. Okay, item 3 is approval of the minutes of the meeting on May the 12th of 2015. You've had a chance to look at those. Are there any corrections or additions, or do we have a motion to approve as written?
I'll make a motion to approve as written.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. There's no proclamations or recognition of citizens tonight. Item 5, communications from Interim City Administrator James Fincher.
Thank you, Mayor. One thing I want to talk about just a little bit, I've had several calls over the past few days, and I'm sure you all have too, about the blinking traffic lights downtown. What we are doing, they are not malfunctioning, they're not torn up. I had a gentleman ask me today, when in the world are you going to fix those traffic lights? And they're not torn up. Well, we are purposely attempting some experimentation with the traffic flow to see if it will resolve some of the issues we're having over primarily on Broadway downtown. The first of the month, traffic backed up in every direction all the way to Wilma's too, and out through West End and across the Eastport Bridge. And of course we had the I don't know how many mile long yard sale thing going on, which brought a lot more traffic into town, and it was the first of the month. And people were complaining about the congestion. They couldn't move downtown, couldn't get through town. And the mayor suggested that we try this and see if that helped alleviate some of this congestion. And right now we're trying some different things to see, and it does seem to be helping some things. It's caused some problems in other places. There's no perfect solution. The lights are back working during peak traffic times. Early in the morning when people are going to work, they're operating normally. In the evening when people are during the commute, that people are getting off work, or school's out now. They were geared towards making sure the school time was right. But anyway, this is not a long-term thing. It's an experiment. And so had a lot of calls, people thinking that they're torn up. They're not torn up. And some people, when I've explained to them what we're doing, they've been satisfied with that. Other people have said, well, they thought it was a bad idea, stop doing it, you know. So we're just trying to see how it works and just trying to make things better if we can. But I just want to get that word out because, and I appreciate the media kind of getting that out, because so many people think they're torn up, and they're not torn up. We're just experimenting with them, and it's, like I say, it's not a permanent fix. The permanent fix is coming. The state's going to come in and put new traffic lights in, hopefully later this year, and that's all the old lights are going to go away, and they'll all be working together to help the traffic flow. Right now, the old lights and the new lights do not work together. The old lights are on a timing sequence, and they're all timed together. The new lights work, they're sensor activated, and they go with the traffic flow. So they will not play together at all. And this is the only thing that we come up with to see what that does. Because a lot of people were suggesting that. They would say, well, they blink at night and everything goes good when they're on blink. Well, but there's not a lot of traffic in the middle of the night either. But we're just willing to try things to see, you know, what does that accomplish. And so it did help. It did help the congestion when we did it. But that's just to bring everybody up to speed on why that's happening.
James, let me, I saw Ben here. Ben, when they did the paving, did they change the wands? Did they put new wands in?
I believe I could have been to address that.
Okay.
I've been in communication with the utilities company. We had an incident over the weekend where one of the lights was switching wide open like there's traffic on it. They ground out the loops. The loops have not been replaced. They intend to put in a camera activation system, and that will probably not come until the entire system's replaced. and put together as one communicating system.
Okay, I've got one other suggestion, if it's possible. The two lights on Broadway, the problem seems to be that when you get to the red light at the men's den, it's red. The one at Woodlawn is green, and when this one changes, the time you get under it, that one's red. Can they be synchronized to be green together?
It's because of the looping system.
So, okay, that's kind of what I thought, but that was another suggestion I had to kind of help with that, so. Okay, James.
Do you know, can I ask a question? Do you know how long it's going to be before the state synchronizes those lines?
2016. The two new ones.
Yeah, or any of it?
It's
Yep,
supposed to
now-
all work together. Once
Yes.
the new lights go in, that system's supposed to synchronize through fiber optic cable, and that's when it should all be functional at one time.
When they first brought it before the council and asked for approval of option, what they called option A or option B, they said that after the council approved which option that they took, I don't even remember now if it was A or B. One did away with most of the parking downtown, and the council opted not to go with that one. And it instituted more turn lanes, but it did away with the parking downtown along the street. And so the old council opted to go with the other one, whichever, I can't remember which was A, which was B, now off the top of my head. But they said then that they were hoping to do it within 18 months at that time, and that was in the fall. So it's just like they were going to repave in the fall, and you see when it got done. So
Well,
you never.
we were at the meeting, the transportation people gave me the impression they were out of money, period. They weren't going to move on with the 321 extensions until they got in, I guess, into next year, until they got more money. And I was wondering if the lighting system's caught up in that same budget crunch.
I don't
there.
think it is. In the conversations I've had with Nathan Batter, who's my contact, and he's the one that deals mostly with the safety issues and the red light system, I have prodded him to try to rush the issue up as quick as possible. So they are working to try to get it going. Now, how long, I haven't heard a timeline on the activators that's the cameras. Did you hear a timeline? I just know that they were going to use safety money to do that.
Everything I was told was when the new lights go in, everything will be functional together.
So they'll put all that together, so.
It costs about $9,500 to $12,000 to go in and put the loops in right now, to take them back out and put cameras in as soon as the lights.
Yeah, and there would be no sense in that, so. Okay, James.
The only other thing I have, and then Tina has something, and this is just something for you to be thinking about, and I'm not griping or complaining, I just want to make you aware of something. And maybe after we get through this budget process, this will slow down a little bit. But we are kind of being, no, I don't want to use the term buried because I don't think that's accurate, but we're being hit up with a lot of public records requests. And that's a part of it, and our records are public. And we accommodate everybody that comes in. But they're becoming more and more elaborate and more time consuming. Like we recently had one that wanted us to go back to from the present back to 2001. And want to know about employees, who all we had, what they made, and we've got a year or two of stuff on the computer, but the other stuff is buried in the back in boxes. And when you have to go back there and spend hours going through those boxes, I just think if that's going to turn into a trend and it's not just an anomaly, I would like for you all to consider the possibility of them. We talked about the copies. We do 20 pages free, and we start charging 50 cents after that. But I think if we're going to have to start spending hours and hours and days doing this research for folks just because they want it, then I think there ought to be a charge for people's time. If you come in and want a copy of something and it takes us 15 minutes, 20 minutes to do it, that's one thing. But when it takes hours and days to research it, I think there should be some kind of penalty attached to that. The taxpayers shouldn't have to pay people to go in and fulfill these wishes on a whim because if somebody's curious, what somebody made 20 years ago or something. And again, that's not trying to fight transparency. That's not trying to be against open records at all. It's just that they're becoming kind of unreasonable, in my opinion. You know, if you want to know what's going on today, you want to know what we're trying to do tomorrow, but wanting all kinds of data on years and years, that just takes up hours and hours and hours to put together. There's got to be a kind of a drawing point where, if we're going to be that, intrusive on our time here, then I think you got to have to recompense the taxpayers for making people do that. But I'm not asking you to do that now. I'm just putting that out there to make you aware that is going on. We're doing our best. We have some people grumble. They'll say, well, we had one a while back. I think we got it back to them the next day, and they grumbled, said they ought to have it in 15 minutes. Well, I'm sorry. We want to accommodate you, and we will. We will absolutely. But we're not dropping everything we do to run and try to do a bunch of research for somebody on an open records request. We'll do it in a timely fashion. We won't ignore it. But we're not dropping everything we do to go jump through hoops on these things. And again, I guess I'm venting a little bit, but it seems like, and I think that this whole process has stirred people up some. I understand that. But some things, I think you have to have some point where you say, if it's going to go beyond this to have to accommodate this, there needs to be some kind of compensation for it, is my opinion.
James, I know that y'all have really been working a lot on, spending a lot of time on the ordinances, and you've about, 3/4 full?
Well, we're working, I appreciate you bringing that up. We have been, and we've came a long way with it. When I first came down here a little over 2 years ago, we were getting as many requests then as we were now. But a lot of them were for the charter, so we put the charter online. The things that we were being asked for constantly at that time, we tried to get them online to where folks, if you want it, all you got to do is go look at the web page or the Facebook page, and right there it is. You click on it, you read it, you print it, you got it. That way we don't have to hunt for you. And so we've tried to do that, and we're doing that with the ordinances. But there are so many of them, and Regina spends a lot of her time when she's not doing other things. She is working to get those things on there, and we're trying to get as much on the website as we can to accommodate folks, so they don't have to come and ask us to look this stuff up. Because if it's something people are routinely asking for, it probably needs to be on there where people can see it. But wanting to go back 15 and 20 years and get who worked here then and what they made and all that, that's a whole different issue.
Well, I think MTS has a complete story, a complete file of those ordinances, and they may be able to help.
I think we've got a link to them. I believe we've got a link on there to them now. Yeah. So you can go to them. Yeah.
And I think they'll actually make you copies of them on some of them if you're missing or if you're having trouble getting them.
Yeah, Regina's looking at Yes, sir. Well, Regina's looking at the MTS, what's on their site, and then she's comparing it with what we have in the book, and then she's checking also with our records here and making sure that everything's jives. So we're working together on all that with MTS and locally too to try to make all that happen.
Okay.
Okay, Tina has something.
Okay.
We just had a request come in from Carlene Robinson from the Cobb County Office on Aging Senior Center. She's requested that the city add a line to the budget for $3,600. It was too late to put it into this reading when I got the letter, but if you so wish, we can do an amendment within that next fiscal year to add the line. So it's whether or not you want to or how you feel on that.
I'm sorry, Tina, I missed who was.
Carlene Robinson. She's director of the Cobb County Office on Aging, the Senior Center, requesting a line item be added for donations within the amount of $3,600 for the 15-16 year.
Is that the same one that was talked about at the last meeting?
No, those were two others.
Just to make you aware.
Just to make it aware. That could be discussed later.
Yes.
And put in a form to amend the budget.
When they come in, we make you aware.
Okay. Okay, James, you got anything else?
No, sir, thank you.
You're welcome. Item 6, report from Tanner Preservation Alliance.
We have no report tonight.
Okay, thank you. Under old business, item A is consideration of the second reading of ordinance 2015-01, the budget amendment for the city of Newport.
And Mayor, I'll read the caption of that ordinance into the record. It is ordinance number 2015-01, an ordinance of amending the annual operating budget and capital program of the city of Newport, Tennessee, fiscal year 2014-2015. This would be the second reading.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve that on the second reading? The budget amendment.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
On that, will that include the additional money that we've received from the extra sales tax so far this year, Jane?
It includes $100,000 in additional revenue. Sales tax are up 10% this year, and so we have, in this amendment, we don't, you want to maintain a balanced budget. And
Right.
so we have amended the revenue and specifically the line item for sales tax we've increased it by $100,000, and that funds some of these. Some of these are just line item transfers. There's no additional monies are needed. Like for one line item within a department, there was a little extra in that, and it was moved down to a line item that had to spend a little extra. Some of it is that, and then some of the rest of it is paid for with $100,000 in extra revenue through sales tax.
Okay, the $100,000 will be utilized then to pay those areas.
Yes.
It will not be used to pay down debt or,
No, it's just to keep our budget balanced.
okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher,
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble,
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Crawford.
Yes.
Thank you. Item B is consideration of second reading of ordinance 2015-02, budget amendment for Newport Grammar School.
Mayor, the caption of that ordinance is ordinance number 2015-02, an ordinance of amending the annual operating budget and capital program of the city of Newport, Tennessee, fiscal year 2014-2015 for Newport Grammar School.
Do we have a motion to approve their budget amendment, Newport Grammar School's budget amendment on the second reading?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble,
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Crawford.
Yes.
Thank you. Item C is consideration of the second reading of ordinance 2015-03, City of Newport budget for fiscal year 2015-2016.
Mayor, the caption of that is ordinance number 2015-03-A, City of Newport. An ordinance of the City of Newport, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget for the City of Newport and tax rate for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2015 and ending June 30th, 2016.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve on the second reading, the City of Newport budget?
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Again, I'd like to ask that instead of going for $1 in 1 year, that we cut that amount to 25 to 35 cents. I continue to believe that $1 at one whack, that would still enable us to give people a raise, but the $1, as I understand it, would raise about $1 million. Is that correct, James?
It's about 1.4.
1.4 million, and that's going to come at 1.4 million is going to come out of the pockets of 37% of the taxpayers in the city of Newport. And based upon what I heard was on Channel 6 last night, was that we're one of the poorest counties in, based on per capita income, we're one of the poorest counties in the state of Tennessee. And I just don't think that our citizens can stand a 25 to 35, a dollar tax increase. I mean, that's really going to hit people anywhere from $150,000 to $250,000, to $250 a year. And that's going to really, I've had a number of calls from people that are living on Social Security, living on minimum Social Security. And I tell you folks, that's really gonna hurt it. Oftentimes, one gentleman that called me said that he had to make a decision many months whether or not he could buy the groceries they needed or get his prescription filled. Now, if we add $1 to the tax rate, and we take another $1.4 million out of the pockets of our citizens, that's money they're not going to be able to spend here, and it's money that's going to come into the city. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need raises. Our fire department, our police department desperately need them, but I just don't think that we can correct in 1 year a situation that it took us 11 years to get in. It's just not possible to do that. And that's my feeling regarding the Newport budget. It's just too much of a tax increase for where we're at in the city for 11 years. I don't know whether, Connie, you've been here through that whole time, whether or not they ever considered tax increases during that period. I don't know whether the board considered tax increases, but we never had any.
During that time period, they didn't.
When I was here when Brad Moffitt was here, and Mr. Moffitt was the city administrator for 3 years, and he did propose a tax increase, and council opted not to go with the tax increase. And also and I would again want to just get the word out. We've been on the radio talking about it. We've talked about it in the newspaper. We put signs up. We absolutely want everyone that qualifies, like you're talking about, that are on Social Security and fixed income, to come and apply and see if they qualify for tax relief, because we do not want it to be a burden on those that cannot afford it. And if they qualify for tax relief, and one good thing, the girls teased me a little bit because I talked about it at the last meeting, and the next day we had people lined up out there checking on it. No. And so they said, "Wow," you said you put us to work.
How many people got it, though, James?
I don't have a number on that.
And there could be people that they're just trying to get it. That's further going to lower that 39% of the people that's paying the property taxes here in the city.
The state pays it. If they qualify, it doesn't get taken out of the revenue stream. The state pays it. So we still get paid. Yeah. But the state pays it, which again is back to the taxpayers in a roundabout way. But it does really help folks out, and we're tickled that program is there, and the city opted into that. The city did not have to participate in that, but the city did, and we absolutely want everyone that qualifies for that to take advantage of it.
That's a monetary quality. You know what a monetary quality?
It's $28,400 or $500 is the limit on household income, I think, something like that. Tina said she thinks that number's going up in the state's new budget. So,
is it prorated based on what you make, or if you fall underneath that, you're out of any new raise, tax raise you raise?
If you fall beneath that dollar amount, then you qualify for tax relief, and whatever amount they deem that they will give to each household is what they will send to the city. Or if the person pays it up front, they'll reimburse the person. And they are raising their limit again next year.
The minimum SSA is $1,200, so if you have 2 people in a household, then they're getting $2,400, and they're not going to fall within that group. They'd have to, it'd have to be way below that. So, but That's my opinion, and that's my view. I guess everybody's heard me say it enough, they're tired of listening to it, but I honestly think it would be best for the city if we do this incrementally instead of hitting everyone for a buck at one time.
Any other discussion?
Yes, sir. We asked Miss Tina and Mr. Finch for a plan, and I wish we had a PowerPoint that we could show you. They've spent a lot of time on this plan. I'd rather eat that bottle than vote for a $1 tax increase tonight. And if you don't believe me, go ask my latest family reunion I went to with all the Fanchers. This list has 33 items on there. I consider 30 of them needs. I see 3 wants, a wish list. If you went by what these people I put some trust in, to come up with a number to get us back on a level playing field, your tax hike tonight would be $2.34. Let me refresh that. $2.48. I'm taking out the wish list. $2.30 just to get back on a level playing field. I go back to my statement I said at the last city council meeting. The fiscal mismanagement is enough to make you want to throw up your mouth. We've had the opportunity, 4 of us, I wish Mr. Knight got to go, we appreciate the city sending us down to be a part of the Tennessee Municipal League seminars, convention. 4 days, 4 of us have been asking questions to people from Mountain City to Memphis on all issues. I know I've been up late at night. I know we've asked questions. Mr. Gribble's been shaking hands and asking questions. I know this gentleman has, I know this gentleman has, and I know I have. No right or wrong, there's no definite plan on what we've got to do. When we tell people what's the cards this council's been handed, they sit back and say, well, good luck. Now, am I going to sit here once again and say, line up the past people who've been involved with this? No, that's water underneath the bridge. And I will say, yeah, I want to do a lot of changes right here. But we're starting our 6th month in this thing, and somebody said something a minute ago, it's taken me a month and a half, 2 months, and I'm still learning some of the stuff that we're facing. This stuff's not going to be changed by pushing a button overnight. And what's the answer? 1 year, 4 years, 10 years? I don't know. But based on what I see here, and you'd be glad to come up here and look at it, these numbers don't lie. If I had a family member working for the city of Newport, driving a 1977 Bobcat, I'd be fearful of that. That's only, I'm sorry, that's only 38 years old. Maybe there's still a couple of months left in that. If I had my employees that work for Tim Dockery driving around in some trucks that Dan Burnett wished he'd had, it's some of these items that we need are capital NEEDS. No, I don't want to vote for what's going to have to be voted on. If we're going to get anywhere, it's got to be done.
I'd like to speak just a second too. I want the public to know that we realize, I do, there's 2 sides of this issue. And I've talked to several people, and the letter that Karen Smith wrote me, I took that very much as construction. Very well written, agreed with a lot of it. A lot of people's got all these suggestions on things, but they've not got answers on how to do it. You know, no matter who you talk to, it's wrong to somebody. But the only thing that I would ask the public, if they could, give us a chance. Nothing's written in stone. You know, all this stuff, you know, if you can change it to go higher, you can also change it to go lower. So give us an opportunity to see if we've got a plan, and I guarantee that we and you all will be watching this what goes with the money. I don't feel like you'll see a mismanagement with the money. We know exactly what we've got, we know exactly what we're doing, we know exactly, we've already been trying to save money, we've already been, told you about 4 or 5 different things with our insurances, with Johnson Control. We're doing our best to save every dime we can make, and then maybe before long, in another year or two, we would be the first to come back, and I think I've talked to all these, and they said they would be the first to come back to try to help the situation too. But some things that, and I agree, we're probably wanting to spread it out, but what happens is you don't get what you need. The city needs some stuff they've been promised for about the last 4 years. I've been talking to the workers about their equipment. It's not been changed, it's been promised. Like the fire hall needed roofs on their building. This needs roofs on. Mr. Dockery's come up with a situation that's unforeseen about if you've got a community center, what's the use of having millions of dollars tied up in the community center and they rot down on you? There's things that you can't see, but with this budget and the way you're trying to do it, we're going to have a little leadway. We're going to have a little money we can fall back on. It may be hard for a while, but give it a change and see if things don't go better. We're not going to be having to pay a lot of interest. We're not going to have to be borrowing money. We're not going to have to be going this tax anticipation note. If we can put the city back on level playing field, then if there's mismanagement, we'll take the blame for it. So I appreciate you trying to be patient. I like what Tommy said about no matter what, let's be friends no matter what goes on with this. But we live in this small community and love every one of you and been close for years. Let's get this behind us, do the best we can. I think everybody is. Whichever way you feel like, whichever way you want to do it, we're all got the same goal, trying to help the city, and I appreciate it.
Any other discussion?
We're still going to, this year, the fiscal year coming up, we're still going to have to borrow that $600,000 in tax anticipation. So this is not going to relieve that. Maybe we should consider taking doing quarterly tax. I talked to the folks in Nashville, and they say that's possible. Then that way you don't have all your money coming in February. You have it coming in increments throughout the year. And I think that's an option, James, that we can look at.
We have looked at that, and what we have found is that you cannot extend the tax year.
That's true.
The taxes are due from October the 1st to February the 28th. And so you can't do it quarter. We can take partial payments during that time frame. If you all choose, that would be something you all would decide, not me. I mean, that would be up to you all if you decide that's what you want to do. If you want us to do, we work for you. But, like one lady that got up and spoke said she could make, like you said, monthly or quarterly payments year round, but you cannot do that. That's not allowed. And so you can take partial payments, but they're still due by February the 28th.
Yeah, I know they're all due by February 28th, but I throughout you could take them throughout the budget year.
No, they're due by February 28th.
I talked to the legal person down there, and they said you could take them throughout the budget year, that you didn't just, it wasn't just the October, November, December, January, February. It wasn't 5 months.
No, that's not what we've been told.
Mr. Finch, if you don't mind.
Maybe that's something we get resolved.
I've talked to some people, because it was asked, I think Linda Hampton asked last time about the credit card and all that stuff. Well, I've talked to other towns that do this, and they say they have very few people that will do it like that. But the only thing that I'm telling you about how to pay it, I'm going to have somebody said they would come and speak, answer every question, they do it, and then see if you like it or not. It's maybe not as bad as you think or as good as you think, but just he'd come and talk to us the way they do it and get their ideas, and you can see if you like it or not.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great idea to get away. If we can get away from borrowing that money, it's great. We can't take this money and do things with it like we did Johnson Control, $800,000. The telephone Johnson Control is $800,000. If we'd have hung on to that money, we could have utilized that to pay off some of the debt. But we can't make purchases like that if this bill passes and expect people not to riot in the streets.
Well, we can't pay $70,000 for the squeeze in anymore either. That's, buying all this real estate, I know there was a plan to build this and build that.
Yeah.
But to add on to what you're saying, I've had those same conversations you have with probably people within the comptroller's office. They're sitting there watching in Nashville what we're doing.
Right.
And if we don't do something, they're going to come tell us what to do.
Right.
Are you agreeable with that?
Yes, but I don't think we have to do that much, is what I'm disagreeing with him about, Jeff. I know we're being closely monitored by the comptroller, and they've said that at this past weekend.
Had the same conversation.
But they're not expecting us to clear it all up with one fell swoop. I mean, this will make us, make our city taxes the third highest city taxes in the state, behind Memphis and Chattanooga.
Memphis, Nashville.
And it'll also make our taxes higher than the county taxes.
Well, sadly, this does not fix it in one full swoop. It's like Mr. Fancher pointed out earlier, to fix it in one full swoop would be about $2.50, which would more than double actually.
Yeah, I realize this will take 4 years at $1.
Yes, this is still not, we're still phasing our way out of this. And it's a 3, maybe 4 years before we even start to see daylight with this plan.
Some of the things
If
we
we
owe
do
for
the
now,
40 and the 60 like we're planning, then
some of the things we owe for now, it's gonna take a few years to get it paid off, like in Johnson Control. I've talked to the school systems, they're saving money by it, but it's gotta be a few years at a time. All this investment we put into it the first time, it's gonna take a little while to get it back out. Our insurance, we saved, about $65,000, is that correct? Am I giving a bad, is that about correct?
60.
60, okay. I didn't want to give, but there's several things that we're doing. If we sell some of this land back at the city that bought and purchased it, we had nothing to do with it. All this thing we're trying to put back into the money pool and to help us get our debt down. And if you wait and keep on and on paying a little bit of time, you'll never get what you need equipment-wise we've been. And you've been 5 and 6 years already behind on stuff.
Well, it's all relative. Some people think 4 years is not enough time. Some people think it's act like you're doing it overnight. It's all relative, and your opinion differs from his versus everybody sitting out there. How long it took X amount of years to get in this mess. How long should we take to get out of this mess?
Talking to other cities down in our conference in Nashville, like I say, we got back 32 seconds early today. I wasn't real sure we was going to make it because we got into traffic jam. But other towns are going through this. They got different problems. Ours just might be a little deeper than some, but every community sort of. And if they don't, they've got other ways of providing revenue. Where ours, about the only way we've got is taxes. They told me we do this, we do that, and we do it. And they got a lot of different ways of raising money. We've not got it here.
there's one thing that we have, but I didn't realize that we could use, we can't impose a wheel tax, but you can impose a registration tax within the city on cars. So that, it might be something else to look at. But I mean, that would take away from people's property tax. If we're not careful, we're going to get property tax that's so high, we're not going to have people moving in, and we're not going to have plants coming in unless we give them large tax breaks that come in 10 years or so.
I think we have good services, but they can always be better. Our police department, I work there, it's been a training ground for a number of years. We've got to have good pay to compete.
I agree.
Places.
I agree.
No disrespect to Jeff's opinion, I am going to throw other councils under the bus. It's been a tremendous failure to act. I remember almost 25 years ago, that council had an opportunity to raise their taxes $1, and they did not do it. And it makes me sick to think what we could have had today, 25 years later, if they had. Nobody likes a tax increase, but folks, one thing I can ask you to do is look at it as an investment in your town. We are not the city of Newport. Everybody in here, we are all the city of Newport. And we're just trying to do what's best.
I was accused of having ego since I've been sitting up on this board. I'm going to tell you where my ego's at. It's making sure the city of Newport gets better off than they are when I step foot on here January 1, 4 years from now, whatever, how long it'll last on this thing. That's where my ego's at. I've got family, I've got friends, been gone for 20 plus years. No, I ain't got an ego. Pardon my English. I haven't got an ego. My ego is to make sure you guys are better off 4 years or extra how many years it is with my decision. I'm going from the heart. Got to. That's where my ego's at.
Any other comments from council?
Yeah, I got on here to help the city of Newport, because I love the city of Newport. It's where I live my life up to now. And we all have talked to each other. We want to do things that make it better. And we've seen this plan that James and Tina's come up with, which, like I said, we've never had before. He's got a goal we can work toward to make things better. And that's what we all are in this for, try to make Newport a better place.
Any other comments? Let's do a roll call.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
No.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you. Item D is consideration of second reading of ordinance 2015-03B, Newport Grammar School budget for the fiscal year 2015-2016.
And Mayor, that's ordinance number 2015-03-B, an ordinance of the City of Newport, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget for Newport Grammar School for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2015, and ending June 30th, 2016.
Do we have a motion to approve on the second reading?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you. Item E is consideration of second reading of ordinance 2015-04, capital project funds.
And Mayor, that's ordinance number 2015-04, an ordinance of the City of Newport, Tennessee, adopting a committed capital projects fund for the City of Newport and a committed tax rate to provide revenue for capital projects beginning with fiscal year July 1, 2015.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second? Second, Bobby?
Yeah.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
No.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you. Item F is consideration of second reading of resolution 2015-04, charter changes for the City of Newport.
And Mayor, that is the resolution that has been approved by the state legislature. It was signed by the governor back in May. This is the first opportunity for the council to act on that. It requires a majority vote, which means we need 4 votes to approve this charter amendment.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the charter changes?
I make a motion. Approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, moving into new business. Item A is consideration of review of proposal from the Planning Commission for yard sale regulations.
Mayor, that's just for y'all to look at. brought up at the last meeting, it's been talked about we've looked at this before in the past. It's been many discussions on it, on ways to regulate yard sales. There have been some complaints to some of you all, and we were asked to try to look at some possibilities on some options. And so Mark, who is not here tonight, he was unable to be here, to advise you on it, but he wanted you all to have that to look at and be thinking about and get back to him with any feedback to him or any member of the planning commission on your thoughts and what direction you feel comfortable going with it. But that's, there's no action to be taken tonight. That's just to give you all what they have come up with so far for your review.
Okay, thanks, James. Item B is consideration of insurance for the city of Newport.
Mayor, of course, a comment was made earlier about how we don't bid out insurance, and actually we do. And so what that they have come back with is a proposal to change. Of course, Cindy's here, and she can explain it better than I can, but is to consider whether or not you want to change from Blue Cross Blue Shield to United Healthcare, and it is a projected, it's comparable coverage, and it is a projected savings of $60,000.
What's your pleasure, council?
We've had our little workshop
Yes.
concerning that, and it's the best thing for our employees.
We would be going from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee to United Healthcare. For everybody's.
Both of them's got a little something the other one's not got. You have to give a little bit to take a little bit. We know that Blue Cross Blue Shield is a good one too, but the $60,000 and everything else being pretty comparable with it, then that's why I think that's what we decided in the workshop, maybe to save the city another $60,000.
Do we have a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Item C, D, and E, we'll take item C first. That is the first reading of ordinances due to the annexation. We did annex Area 1. Then there was Area 2, 3, and 4 that was up for annexation, but due to legislature's change in the rules and regulations and the laws as to what can be annexed, each one of these needs to be repealed to get it off of the judge's books. Correct, James?
Well, what happened was we annexed around 2008. We annexed the Wilsonville Street. We did it in 4 sections, what we call Area 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there's been a lot of capital improvements we've made out through there. We've hung red street lights all the way out. We pay a large amount to light that interchange out there, and so we annexed out through there to support all those, help pay for those services, and to square up the town and what was out through there. Well, all the residents filed lawsuits, the property owners, to not be annexed, and we had one hearing, went through a trial in court, it was appealed on to the Supreme Court, and we won the lawsuit on Area 1. And so the lawsuits were still pending on Areas 2, 3, and 4. And the new law that was enacted on annexation, which no longer allows cities to annex by ordinance, now can only be done by request or referendum. And the referendum has to be, the way I understand, has to be initiated by the property owners. But anyway, what the law, according to our annexation lawyer, Charlton Duvall, by May the 15th of this year, all those lawsuits had to have been resolved one way or the other. Otherwise, all annexations that were under appeal or challenge are not considered finished until you win or lose the lawsuit. So this new law does not allow you to move forward with the lawsuits. And so what our attorney has said is that we basically must repeal those 3 annexations because we cannot move any farther forward with them in that process. They were annexed, but they were challenged in court, and it's been languishing in court for years. Like I say, I think it's 2008. And so, I mean, that's where we are. You know, we count by new state law that went into effect May the 15th, we cannot move forward with challenging those, defending those lawsuits.
Mr. Fincham, didn't we lose quite a bit of money over that though, that already invested?
Well, we spent a lot of, you know, we put street lights in out there. The biggest amount of money we spent was lighting the 432 exit out there with those huge lights out there. We paid for that. We had a little bit of money from the state, but the line share came from us. And so, yeah, we've invested a lot of money out through there, and we're just going to be.
Put good money in after bad.
Well,
you can't use the money. Don't make use
Well, we've spent thousands of dollars fighting the lawsuit, you know, so we've lost that money also. And
one of the breakout seminars yesterday I attended was about annexation, and that was one of the the mostly populated. There was standing room only for that issue. And the guy echoed exactly what you said. This is probably not going to move forward. Just echoing what you said. So a lot of people spend a lot of good money to fight this, and especially bigger cities, and they were very visibly upset. The guy said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's not moving forward."
We've invested a lot of money, and we're just going to lose it. Once again, it's one more example of something we spent a lot of money on, and now we're it's just gone. And one thing, just for informational purposes for people, and again, some of this is my opinion, but a lot of it's based strictly on fact. One of the reasons that you're looking at this huge tax rate, when they talk about, Mr. Gribble talked about it, he's exactly right. We have one of the highest in the states. And it's a sad fact that we do. But there is a direct correlation with that and the failure for the city to annex in the last 50 years. The city of Newport is 4.5 square miles. That's the footprint of the city of Newport, and 6,900 people. Dandridge is 5.5 square miles. Dandridge is 1 square mile larger than Newport. Now, if you will go back and do the research like I am, and you look at the population in the 60s here, the population in Newport was 6,400 people. But now it's 2015, and the population of Newport is 6,900 people. Now, how much? That's 500 people in 50 years that you've gained in the town. Now, you've got almost 15,000 people that live in the 37821 zip code. The city of Newport should be about 8 or 9 square miles. It should be the footprint should be twice as big as what it is. And the population should be in the 10 to 12,000 range. Then you don't have 4.5 square miles and 6,900 people trying to fund all the things you want to have here. They drive on the streets every day. They use the city park. They use all the services. They drive under these street lights. They use all the services the city has to offer. But anytime annexations come along, it's like you're trying to make a deal with the devil. It's the end of time. And so every other city around us has grown and prospered through annexation. But the city of Newport, being the anomaly and one strange place in the universe where you can't do things you can do everywhere else. Now the folks are paying the piper because we did not annex in the last 50 years and grow like the town should have, to where everybody's bearing the burden to pay for this stuff that they're enjoying. And you're asking a small number of people to provide services for a large number of people. You want to talk about people, only 33% is paying. Well, I rented for 11 years, and my rent went up. It didn't stay the same for 11 years. And I lived in town. I lived in town for over 25 years. And I know one property owner that has a lot of rental properties, and he told me, he said, "I'm not grumbling about the taxes. We went all these years. I got by this long. I've already notified all my tenants the rent's going up." So don't never feel like, I hear people put down. I had to rent for 11 years before I could afford to buy a house. And I bought one in Indian Hills and lived there 16 more years. So 27 years I was in the city. So just because you rent, don't mean it doesn't affect you. It don't mean that, well, you don't pay your share, because they're gonna go up on your rent. I've had one tell me, hey, I've done so, I'm gonna go up on the rent. The renters are gonna pay a share. Yes, the burden is responsible to the property owner, but I promise you, a lot of renters are gonna pay more. And there's been a lot of comments made about how this tax increase doesn't affect me personally. Well, everybody doesn't know my business, and I don't talk about my business a lot, because same reason I don't have a Facebook page, I don't think my business is anybody else's. But this does affect me. My wife is part owner in 3 properties in town, one of which is commercial and is at a higher rate. So this will affect my family, just like Jeff. I've got family and friends that live in town, and I worry about them. They try to make it sound like we just frivolously come in here and say, oh, heck, man, throw $1 on them. And that's not true. I can tell you right now, these men right here, I've talked to them. They've agonized over this. It's made them sick, physically sick. Now, how bad they've agonized over having to do this. And nobody just comes in and just frivolously does that. I've looked, Tina and I, we've called everybody you can call as a consultant, the state, the comptroller's office, the auditors. We've looked at everything to try to find a magic bullet to crawl our way out of this. And it's not there. So to say that we just kind of frivolously do these things, that's not true at all. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get on the preaching, but I just think people have a right to see the truth, that there's a lot of components that come into play on why we're in the shape we're in, and annexation, in my opinion, backed up by facts, is a large reason why we are suffering now with these large taxes, because it's not just the renters that's not paying their part, it's the people that live on the fringe of the city, like me, that get to enjoy all the benefits of town, but they don't pay for them. They like having them, but you talk about, you talk about annexing them, and man, the pitchforks and the torches come out. But that is, we're having to repeal this, and it makes me sick, because we have spent all this money, and it's just one more example of where it's flushed down the toilet.
I think, and a lot of the smaller cities thought, that I talked to, that the Municipal League of Tennessee, who has the lobbying arm for each one of us down there, had dropped the ball on this annexation, that they had let the bigger cities roll over, and that they didn't do the proper lobbying and contacts and to get the people from the city down there. I wasn't talking about renters, I was talking about more of the people that live in federal housing.
Well, I've heard a lot of people, I wasn't going that issue, but I've had a lot of people tell me, well, people that rent don't pay their share, and I've defended that, because I rented for 11 years, and it's because I have to, not just because I wanted to. And renters, a lot of people disparage renters, and some people just rent because they choose to. I rented because I have to.
Well, I've been a renter also, and wouldn't dare do that, but I do think that, we ended up with all of the housing units here in the city, and that hurts us. There has to be 60-something% of the people of this number of people that live here, this 6,900 people. There has to be a big number of those that aren't paying taxes. And I think that's a real problem. I don't know how you get around it. We can't get around it with annexation, but we're going to have to look for some other ways, because I think we've ridden the property owners' taxes in the city to death. And we're going to have to find another way other than that to get revenue from this 69% of the people that live in the city that don't pay anything. And, and another thing, while I've got the floor, I think we should ask the utility company, when they get requests for the sewer systems, I think we should ask the Newport Utility Company to not grant those if they're not in the city.
I've already talked to Glenn about that.
Yeah.
Unless there's an additional fee, a tap-in fee maybe, a add-on fee.
An add-on fee, something that'll bring some money into the city, because I talked to one city that, they completely control their utility, and that's what they said they did. They stopped, and it helped their annexation because without having sewer there, that they would, people would be willing to come into the city and come in and pay the property tax if they couldn't get sewer. But that's something we're going to have to work with Glenn on and see if we can talk him into that.
I talked to the mayor of Sevier County about 2 weeks ago, and he told me the same thing. Sevier County, they've got so much ways to pull money in, but they're still looking at a way to have to raise their sewer tax. Ours is going to have to be raised, I feel like, and I've heard that. And our garbage pickup, they've got so many other ways. Every town around us, they may not have gone up so high on their property tax, but they sure went up on the other taxes, for sales taxes and all the other things that we can't do here.
Right.
Well, our sales tax is already maxed out.
Yeah, we're maxed out on sales tax, but they have a huge hotel motel tax over there that really brings in the money, and then amusement taxes and everything else.
And we can't have the amusement tax, we checked on that, we don't. You have to be a county with 3 incorporated cities who are premier resort destinations. Now, who does that fit in the state of one county?
You're right.
That was one of those deals that was kind of tailor-made for one place. But we looked into that, we're very interested in trying to do that, but we cannot.
But, if people outside of the city limits are going to get services such as sewer and so forth, then why live in the city? If you get everything we get outside, why live here? Because as Jeff said, it's not the housing that's bringing them in. And so we've got to do something. And maybe Glenn can help us out in that area. I thought I'd do that. I can say that because I'm going off here in a few minutes anyway. So Glenn won't be able to hit me too hard because I won't be out there. I can say he's got that thank you look on his face right now.
Okay, let's consider the first one, which is the first reading of ordinance 2015-05, ordinance to repeal ordinance 2008-06, annexation of Area 2. Do we have a motion to approve?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Let me read that,
Okay.
the caption of that ordinance into the record. It's ordinance number 2015-05, an ordinance to repeal ordinance 2008-06 that was to annex certain territory and to incorporate the same within the corporate boundaries of the city of Newport, known as Annexation Area 2. First one I have says 3. We'll do this one first, 05, area number 3, for property fronting on Highway 25W/70 from Falcon Industries to Underwood Road.
Okay, that's Area 2.
It says area 3.
That's Area 3. C is 3 instead of 2, isn't it, Terry?
Okay, for the record, then we need to change item C to Area 3, and item D, Area 3 to 2. Terry, is that correct?
Yeah, let me double check that matter.
Now, if they come back next year and change this back, we have to refile and go through the same thing again?
Yes, we would.
Okay.
Yes, we would.
There's no way to hold those in abeyance until then?
No.
Well, I think if it is repealed, it's something we need to aggressively pursue.
Absolutely.
That is area 2.
The one that you read is Terry. Okay, so disregard that. The agenda is correct. That's 2 and that's 3. Okay, do we have a motion to approve for Area 2, the repealing of the ordinance?
Make that motion.
Do we have a second? Any other discussion? All those in favor?
You made the motion.
Bobby made the motion. Yeah, sorry. All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Item D is consideration of the first reading of ordinance 2015-06, ordinance to repeal ordinance 2008-07, annexation of Area 3.
Yes, Mayor, that is ordinance number 2015-06, an ordinance to repeal ordinance 2008-07 that was to annex certain territory and to incorporate the same within the corporate boundaries of the city of Newport, known as annexation area number 3 for property fronting on Highway 25W70 from Underwood Road to the I-40 exit.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve that ordinance?
Make a motion.
Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Item E is consideration of first reading of ordinance 2015-07, ordinance to repeal ordinance 2008-08, annexation of Area 4.
And that is ordinance number 2015-07, an ordinance to repeal ordinance number 2008-08 that was to annex certain territory and to incorporate the same within the corporate boundaries of the city of Newport, known as Annex Area Number 4 for property fronting on Highway 25W/70 from the I-40 exit to the Newport Utility Service Center.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Under item 9A is consideration of NUB appointment. Jeff Fancher.
Floor open now, open for nomination. I nominate Willie Green to replace Jeff Fancher.
I nominate Bill Lewis.
Okay, we have two. Any other nominations? Do we have a motion to cease nominations?
Make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor to cease nominations?
Just a minute. Bill Lewis put his application in, was handwritten on a piece of white paper. It wasn't even typed up in any formal manner whatsoever. And it didn't appear to me to be a proper application for a position on a Newport Utility Board.
We asked
I
for
know,
resumes.
Pardon?
We asked for resumes. It wasn't a formal application.
Well, the resume still, it was handwritten on a piece of paper. I don't know anyone that puts in a resume in that manner.
I understood every word he had on it. It wasn't anything that I didn't understand. It said the same thing, it was just handwritten instead of typed. That's the only difference I saw in it.
Okay.
All those in favor is, did we get a motion and a second?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor that nomination cease indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. Okay. We need a roll call vote on Willie Green.
Alderman Jeff Fancher,
No.
Alderman Roger Gribble,
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel,
No.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
No.
Vice Mayor Mike Crawford.
No.
One vote. Roll call for Bill Lewis.
Alderman Jeff Fancher,
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble,
No.
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Crawford.
Yes.
Okay, Bill Lewis will take Jeff Fancher's place on the NUB board. The second one is consideration of NUB appointment to replace council member Roger Gribble. We have nominations for that position.
I nominate Willie Green.
Okay. Jeff,
I'd like to nominate Mr. Craig Wild.
any other nominations? Do Do we have a motion to cease nominations?
Make a motion.
I second.
Okay. Did you get that, Tina? Yeah. Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Roll call for Willie Green, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
No.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
No.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
No.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
No.
Okay, one vote. Roll call for Craig Wild, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
No.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Okay, 4 votes to 1, so Bill Lewis will replace Jeff Fancher on the utility board, and Craig Wild will replace Roger Gribble on the power board.
One of our promises for change.
Yep.
Get rid of politicians off the NUB board.
All right.
Amen.
Okay, the last item
Although
is...
Craig Wiles does work in the courthouse, the annex up here.
You're not elected, please.
Not elected.
He's appointed.
Well,
Communication or any comments from citizens? Yes. You're welcome.
Claude, before you say something, can I say something?
Yes, sir.
I won't take you steal your thunder, but one of the biggest things I've been told about was the communication from allowing citizens to speak, say their piece, give ideas, so forth and so on. You can look at me and tell I'm a big Facebook or Twitter fan, but I have understood after going to Nashville and seeing the governor today stress the importance of the cities to engage in what the state is doing. And he also went ahead and turned that to say it's important that you engage the citizens into what's going on as far as information goes. I've tried to pull the cart before the horse here just a tiny bit, and if you'll look on the Newport, Town of Newport website, there's a form on there, for lack of better terms, Rocky, excuse me for watching the technology terms, but you have the ability to contact an alderman, the mayor, with your question and or suggestions. Well, I want to take that one step further, 2 steps further actually. I want help from you, Rocky, and we may have this, I don't know, a Facebook page, a Twitter page. Today, all the towns, and I typed them in as I went, Greenville, Somerville, Eagleville, Dresden, Chattanooga, all seemed like they had presence down at the state office. Am I right there? I mean, they were all talking about how they got involved, Columbia with fire department, Brentwood with the police department, all had presence at the state. Now, am I ready to move to Nashville? No. This was good for me. But my point is this. It seemed like they had open communication from the citizens to get ideas. I think we all know what the problems are. I'll sit here all day and listen to constructive results. It seems like everybody, like I said, knows what the problems are. I've had no concrete plans on how to fix things. With that said, Rocky, I need help to do a Facebook page. Okay, I want to promote that. Twitter, I want to promote that. And I also want to somehow incorporate, if it's not here, somewhere else, a town hall meeting. I'll sit here by myself. I'm not going to sit here for 2 hours and listen to people complain because we know what all the complaints are. I'll sit here all day and listen to constructive suggestions. And I think that's what people want. They want to be able to say, I think this might work. Or would you consider this? I'll listen to it all day. I'll sit here by myself and do it. But I urge some of these other guys as well. I know you will. I'm sorry, Claude. You go right ahead, sir.
It's all right. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything that's gone on in this room tonight and all the effort that's gone into it to where we are today, where we've gotten to today, okay? But Financially successful communities are created, not by happenstance, but they're created through positive city input. There is a groundswell, if you will, right now of citizens who want to have that town hall meeting. I don't know that if it takes a requirement of the council to approve an organized meeting. If it does, I hope y'all will consider that, but it's time to move forward with that. It is in no way a threat to city council or city government. Okay, that's not the purpose of it. Town hall meetings go back to the Pilgrims, okay? That was the original form of government. Many areas across the United States still practice that and have since back in colonial times. It has never been done here, but at this point in time, I believe that the citizens are ready to come together. It takes the responsibility out of this room and puts it directly on the citizens. It's their meeting. We're not coming together to oppose anything that y'all are doing. We're coming together to support you and bring you ideas. So many times, Cobb County and Newport, and on the news last night, Mr. Gribble, I didn't see the broadcast, but I've heard several people talk about this. We're always on the bottom. I can look in this room right here and tell you that there's no reason for that to continue. Okay? We have enough experience in this room right now that if we'll turn our attention and become more positive and become more focused on how to move our city forward, taxes, property taxes are going to have to be paid forever. But to generate new revenue is going to take something else from what y'all can come up with here. And that comes from citizens, it comes from businessmen, businesswomen, okay, it comes from the companies that we already have here. It's going to take a whole community effort, positive input. What you're saying, no negative input, okay? If we're going to have a town hall meeting, then it's going to be structured and organized and well monitored. If we just take 4 categories a night, if we have multiple town hall meetings, we will accomplish more than we've ever been able to do before. It's time to let the citizens' voice be heard. There's so many good suggestions out here. And bottom line is people are afraid to speak up because of the reaction that they get.
Amen.
We need a safe place, free to come in and have people express the ideas that they have, which are tremendous, okay? It's not just about taxes. Roof on the Memorial Building, and the list goes on. Tanner Building, the streets downtown. Can citizens come up with suggestions about this? Let's see. Okay, so if it does require authorization for the council, I ask you to do that. But I'd like to go ahead and be able to go ahead and schedule this, get the moderators together, get an agenda ready, and get the word out to the citizens where they can come in. Feel free to come in and share their ideas, okay? Successful communities, which I'll define that as being financially stable, are created, okay? We have that opportunity right now. The citizens are tuned into this and they're ready to go. So is that something that council would need to do to approve a town hall meeting? Would we need a resolution, or can I go ahead and...
I think it would require, just if y'all want to meet somewhere.
Okay.
Would that approve using the...
Yes, the facility.
Okay.
Is that what you had in mind?
Well, I'm just trying to get the ground rules here before I make any more progress. We do have one facility that's been offered. It's not city related at all. So.
I don't have any problem with people suggesting things. Like I say, constructive criticism, because we've racked our brains on things. I know you've heard this, say this. We've racked our brain on how to come up with things. Everybody's told us what the problems are, but nobody's really had a solution for it yet. So that's why I'd be glad to, and
Okay.
the rest of them would too.
Well, like I said, it just doesn't concentrate on y'all, okay? Okay, we need more small businesses in town, okay? We need solutions, like I said, to the memorial building roof. I met with American Legion last night, and they're out of solutions. Like I said, we have a wealth of skill and knowledge in the community. Bring them together and make use of it, okay?
L.S. McKay was supposed to be giving him and Bill Hickson on that memorial building roof. I've talked to them about it several times. They kept saying they'd get back to me, but they hadn't yet.
Okay.
We're working on that.
All right. All right, that's all I have then. Thank you.
Thank you, Clark.
Thank you, Claude.
Any other citizens' comments? Do we have a motion to adjourn? Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I believe we're ready.